This evening's video is going to be on something a lot different than what I've been covering. It's on the DT1 evolution into what eventually became the reed valve engine and the YZ. This stuff that I'm going to be showing you belongs to Enduronut. If anyone can get a hold of Gary Jones, show him this video. We would also love to hear his input if he has any comments. And also, if we could get his autograph on his poster, that would be awesome. I hope you guys like this video. I think it's really cool seeing this stuff and hearing about the history. A lot of the stories and stuff are on the internet about a lot of this stuff. We're just focusing on the engine equipment and everything, not so much the stories, because the stories are out there on the internet. What we're talking about, you can research and find yourself.
So I want to talk a little bit about the early Yamaha race machines and the evolution of the DT1 into a race bike. First of all, into an MX, and then later what we have as a 74 DT250A, the YZ, not DT, YZ 250A. So we have a early poster here of Gary Jones. I believe this is the bike that Don Jones developed with his two sons, Gary and Dwight, which I've read articles. There's articles on the internet and in magazines both. I don't have time to research all that, but apparently Yamaha had Don develop a race bike for them out of the 68 DT1. And they kept improving the model, testing it, and came up with what I believe it was Gary claimed that they called the Y to Z bike. And I believe this might be a 1970 poster, because the bike that he won the 71 National 250 Championship on, I believe was a yellow one. This is, Gary talked about how they put a horse bridle on the gas tank and shaved the forks down, and I believe they used a Greaves or some other model rear wheel. Shocks are different. Everything was changed from the original DT1. They kept improving it, making parts, and they ended up calling it the A to Z. In other words, they changed everything. And then Yamaha requested the bikes back, as the story goes, and the Joneses sent the bikes back to Japan. Then Japan copied them, made their own version of this, and sent them to Torsten Hallman for testing. Meanwhile, the Joneses were still racing Yamahas over here. But in 71, if you go to Terry Good's site, he has a story on Torsten Hallman, a very good article he's come up with. And this cylinder head here is just like the one on Torsten Hallman's 71 bike that Yamaha sent him for testing. And it has an over-the-head exhaust pipe. But this is like a DT1 because it's only got 4 holes. Later in the year, they put in the extra studs, so they had the smaller studs here and here, here and here, and then these 4, just like the 74 YZ has. But this is obviously an earlier. There's a number here stamped in there, 241. So I believe this is a prototype YZ head. It's identical to the one on Torsten Hallman's bike in Terry Good's article, which was written in 1971. So this is a prototype or works bike cylinder head. And Terry Good might actually have this same cylinder head or information on it. And then over here we have the cylinder. And if you're a Yamaha guy real familiar with the DT1s, this looks exactly like a Get Kit cylinder. 68 and 69 had a chrome bore, and it looked like this with these fins cut this way. But the difference is this one has a reed valve. And the Get Kits only came with piston port. Also the 70 and 71 MX only came with piston port. But yet this looks like a Get Kit cylinder. So what this is, it's a prototype to the Yamaha reed valve. This is before Yamaha had the reed valve. This is likely a 71 cylinder because it is also on Torsten Hallman's bike in the Terry Good article.
This head was on the cylinder, correct?
Yeah, there is a picture where on Terry Good's article, if you want to go to his website and find it, about Torsten Hallman, and there's a picture of him on a bike with this cylinder with reed valve and this head and an over the head pipe instead of along the side like this early Get Kit cylinder was designed to have a pipe come up beside the cylinder, but this head was designed for a pipe that went over the top and through the frame. So this is the predecessor to the 72 DT2 MX. This is a prototype before they made the DT2 MX, which was the first reed valve motor they made, Yamaha made. What am I missing?
I want to go back to the poster. So you said they changed pretty much everything A to Z.
Yeah.
And they sent it back to Japan, and they may not have understood the concept A to Z, so they named it YZ because the Yamaha starts with Y.
Yeah.
YZ, okay. And this poster you said was in Cycle World.
Cycle World sold it.
Sold it, so
But
you could buy it.
I haven't found it yet. It's probably in a magazine somewhere in 1970 or so.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I say 1970, I believe this is either 69 or 70, this poster. Somebody out there may know, and you can contact us and let us know. But
Yeah, comment below if you know.
the reason I think it is that early of a poster is because the 71 bike that they raced and won the national championship before AMA was involved, the one they raced in 71 and won with had a yellow tank with a black Nike stripe on it, if you know what I mean.
I think it's really cool. This is like a horse.
Yeah, they used like a horse bridle or something to make the first strap on the. So this is basically what the Joneses came up with as a race bike, and Yamaha turned into the YZ in 74 and put into production. But up until 74, Yamaha was only racing these bikes that look like this as works bikes. The public didn't have access to that style race bike until 74 when they came out with the YZ model.
And then there's little things you notice, like this is homemade, like this, what's it called?
Just a
chin guard?
Chin guard. This is obviously Gary Jones because it's number 88. And somebody may know from these pictures the color of helmet he's wearing, the rock guard, chest guard. Just, they might know from the picture when this is. I'm thinking 70, 69. If you know otherwise, There's another rider in this picture. I'm not sure who that is, but somebody might recognize him. These are off their national riders.
Okay, so let's talk about this sales slip or receipt.
Oh yeah, this is a 71, November 14th, 1971, Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is an AMA race, I believe, but it's one of the series of national races. I don't know how many they had that year, like 8 or something. And they had international riders competing here, like DeCoster and Robert and others. But in this particular race on November 14th, 71, Gary Jones came in the main event 16th place. Not one of his best races, but you got to remember he's racing against international, the best in the world at the time. And he very well could have been the first American. I don't know the particulars on this race, but it looks like he won $130, and this is a receipt for that race. American Motorcycle Association, yeah. Gary Jones, that's his autograph twice there. This is a receipt for his winnings of $130 in that race.
And the Europeans were so much better than the Americans at that time that in 71 he was the U.S. national champ on a Yamaha.
Right.
And then he also won in 72 and 73. So the best American still was quite a ways back compared to the Europeans.
Yeah, I think in 72 he won on a Can-Am, and 73 was a Honda Elsinore. And Dwight Jones, his older brother, was right in the mix. He was, I know one year he was in the top 10, like 9th. He was a good rider too.
And then back to this cylinder, I know I'm jumping around. It's obviously like a prototype, one of the first reed valves. But you also found that Don Jones was doing his own sand casting of reed valves.
Yeah.
So it's possible that Don might have played a big part in the reed valve development and everything.
Yeah, that's true. And now that you mention that, this head was found in Riverside, California, which is very close to where the Joneses were operating. And I found some initials on here, and they're faded up.
I got the picture saved. I'll show the picture.
Yeah, there's some initials on there, and it could be how Don Jones or Dwight or Gary signed their initials. I don't know. But
it looked like a D and a J, so it's possibly theirs.
And then there's that number stamp, 241. That's hand stamped. The casting number is blotted out. When they cast it, they scratched it out before they cast it. I don't know. These are, all I know is these are some very odd pieces you're not going to see here in the U.S.
Yeah, you're not going to see this stuff around here. Anyways, just wanted to show a video of some cool early history in the reed valve and YZ, and it ties into the DT world as well. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video of this rare stuff that Enduronut has shared.
Someday, you'll own a Yamaha.